What's up, everybody? Good to see you here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Travel Tips Tuesday. Got a bunch to cover tonight. But first, tonight, it is March the 11th, 2025, and this is Travel Tips Tuesday. Some big news dropped today in the travel world. If you happen to run across an airport, hop on a plane every now and then, Southwest Airlines is making some big changes. Just a few months after they said they would not be making these changes. But as of May the 28th, their first two bags that fly free, which has been a marketing platform that they sort of have used for quite some time to lure in, customers. As of May 28th, those bags will no longer be flying free for flights that are booked May 28th and forward. However, like many airlines, they have what's called a Rapid Rewards credit card, similar to the Delta Amex, the AA Advantage card that American Airlines has. United has one. Most of the major airlines have some sort of credit card that they offer their passengers. And in this case, Southwest is still going to be offering free bags for those that have, top tiers. For those that do have, those cards, as well as those that are rewards members, depending, on what your tier is and that kind of thing. So there's still going to be some other benefits that are out there that are available. However, they're making a huge change, and this is not too long after they announced the open seating policy will also be going away as well. There is one thing I want to show you guys here tonight as you're joining, or maybe you're watching this in the future. This fare chart that I just put up here, by the way, is the new fare chart for Southwest Airlines that will go into effect on May the 28th. If you notice, there are a few changes on here. First off, the want to get away and then want to get away fare in and of itself is no longer there. There's a basic, want to get away plus, anytime, and business select fare. So these four fares will be the ones that will be available as of May the 28th. And there are also some yeah, Jared, thank you. Jared says boo Southwest. So yeah. Anyway, so Southwest is kind of on the shall we say trying to think of a family-friendly word to use here. Let's just say they're not very high on the list for some people right there, because I have several clients, friends, others, families that will literally drive, because my local airport here in Huntsville, Alabama, does not have Southwest. We have American, United, Delta, and some others, but we don't have Southwest, and people will drive to Atlanta, to Nashville, to Birmingham to fly Southwest specifically for this reason, because those baggage fees, thinking round trip, they can definitely add up. So just kind of, keep that in mind as you're making your travel arrangements moving forward, that Southwest is making those changes effective May the 28th. If you have additional questions about that, if you have a trip to book using Southwest Air already, please let me know. Would love to fill you in. And David Madron, one of my fellow TravelMation travel agents, says, can we not talk about Southwest? Well, Dave, you're in luck, because that's about all I'm going to say about that for right now. So, but again, if you do have changes about those, that Southwest will be making, you have a trip booked already, in that will be traveling sometime, either before or after, whenever, would love to help sort through the mud and make that clear for you moving along the way. So anyway, once again, welcome to Travel Tips Tuesday. Our topic for tonight is this: what is the most important thing? This is actually our question today, not the topic per se. We will get to these in a little bit. But what is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? What is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? If you have a idea, question, comment, whatever it is around this, please drop that in the comments. Would love to be able to share that with some folks. I do have one answer that I want to that I'm going to get to here kind of towards the end of everything. But our topic for tonight is this: family fun on the high seas. kind of a cruising adventure. Again, if you weren't with us last week was the first episode we've done in a while, and just sort of intro and getting into some of the basics about cruising and thinking about it, like the advantages, honestly, that you have of going on a cruise. We talked a lot about that. Brief sort of aerial overview, no pun intended. Probably a bad pun to use tonight in light of the news we just shared. But anyway, so all that to say is, we're moving forward. We're going to be talking a lot about cruising here in the next few weeks and months, looking at it from groups, families, sort of the all-inclusive idea of being on high seas, only having to unpack once. Solo cruising, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about adult-only cruising and several other options that are out there as well. But again, our question of the day, please put this in the comments. If you do have a reply, an idea, and a thought, what is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? Doesn't have to be about cruising. So just to kind of put that out there. So there's some questions that I think. So when we think of a topic like this, it's easy to, I think, to share stories, sort of illustrations, moments about why a cruise adventure could be a great opportunity for a family. I'm actually in the middle of booking a few cruises right now for some folks that are going to be sailing on Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas and Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady on an adults-only cruise, because Virgin Voyages, they are kid-free, not kid sail-free. That's different, but they are kid-free, and I have some folks that are going to be going on a couple's getaway this summer on Virgin Voyages. Very excited about them. The information came in just a little while ago for me to make that a reality for them, and I'm looking forward to that. And one of the things, I will say this, chasing a little rabbit trail here, because I do that sometimes. If you've watched this before, you know I do that on occasion. But every time I sail on a cruise ship, as of recent at least, last year, one of the things that I will do while I am on board is I will purchase basically a future cruise voyage. It's kind of a certificate, not really, but anyway, it's essentially a cruise that's been booked with just the deposit, typically a reduced deposit. And because I booked that while I'm on board of the ship, I'm able to offer sometimes discounted rates, sometimes onboard credit, sometimes both of those things. So, as one of my clients, just know that I am there. Like, I'm not out there, cruising is fun. Like, I'm actually itching to get on a ship right now. I was supposed to be on the inaugural of the Norwegian Aqua here in a few weeks, but I had to pull out of that for various reasons. And I'm kind of bummed that I'm not going to be on the ship. But anyway, when you are on board, you have the same opportunity most of the time to purchase those, what some people in the industry call placeholders. There's a bunch of different names. Different cruise lines have different names for them, but most of the time there's a desk, a little room, office, somewhere sort of in the centralized location of the ship. And that is a great way to save on your future voyages. And they're often very, very flexible as well. Virgin Voyages gives you 2 years to select the sailing. There's some that only give you about 6 months to a year, depending on the cruise line. So check those next sailing, those future sailing promotions, and also make sure you understand the fine print before you sign up for one of those. But want to make sure that you are aware of that. That's one way that you can save money on a future trip when you're still on your current one, which is pretty cool, and gives you a little bit of flexibility along the way. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward here through our discussion. So Jared gave us an answer for our question of the day. Thank you, Jared. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. But the first thing you want to think about as you're thinking about the kind of cruise that you want is you want to think about the overall kind of experience that you're looking for. So again, these are questions to kind of ask yourself to help craft a great family adventure on the high seas. And these are things that I use to help. And this is, kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit as far as being a travel agent goes. But these are questions that I use to better understand my clients, so I can make sure that they have the best opportunity that they are looking for in helping to make some of their vacation dreams a reality. So, what kind of cruise experience are you looking for? Are you looking for an adventure? Are you looking to relax? Are you looking to unplug? Do you want great shows and entertainment? Do you care about none of those things? And do you just want to be on the go all the time? Do you want to explore excursions? Do you want to just lay by the pool? Are you a spa person? Do you love to hang out in the casinos? Are you all about the food? So there's a lot of different things to consider when you're looking at a cruise. No one cruise line is built the same. No one cruise ship is the same. Even ones that are modeled off the same blueprints are very different. And cruise ships change from time to time. These staffing standards, these service standards are different from cruise line to cruise line. Depending on the kind of experience that you're looking for, that's something that's very important to understand. Some people have this idea in their head that all cruises are booze cruises, and they're not. Trust me. So if you're looking for that, that's out there. Those are things typically that I try and help families avoid as we're looking at cruise options, because most of the time families don't want that unless they're families with grown-up kids. So there's an opportunity out there for everybody, I suppose. So just thinking about that and the kind of experience that you're looking for is very important before you even start talking about budget in a lot of ways. The next thing you want to think about is, do the ages or maybe even needs of your kids determine the kind of vacation you feel that you can take? Because sometimes, so often, especially with younger kids, I feel like this is a big moment of discussion. Sometimes with younger kids, we don't feel like we can travel because you feel like you have to take your house and home along with you. Again, if you're newer to this, I've got 4 kids. They used to be a lot younger than they are now, but they range from 12 to 6. I remember what it was like to travel when they were babies. You feel like you've got to take everything with you: diapers, wipes, and diapers, and all the things you need to feed them, and again, extra packs of diapers and wipes, your pack and play, the car seats, the booster seats, the toddler seats, games and activities for them to play with. Like, there's so many different things that sometimes you feel like you have to do, especially with multiples, I feel like sometimes, to keep them occupied. Because you're going into a place that is not your home. It's a place maybe that they're not as familiar with, and you want to make sure they're safe. You want to make sure they're safe and entertained, and not just, wine, kind of on the go all the time. So sometimes the ages can determine what you're able to do. In the case of Virgin Voyages, kids are not allowed on board unless they're grown-up kids. So that's one thing to keep in mind there. But most cruise lines I would say most cruise lines are very family-friendly. If you're looking for like a more kind of value-centric getaway, or if you're looking for something that's more luxury-focused and you want to explore some pretty amazing places and have a very high level of service, there's an opportunity, there's something out there for you. And regardless of the ages of your kids. So sometimes when we think about the ages of our kids, we're like, well, they're just too young. I don't want to have to worry about them. Well, guess what? One of the things that you can plan on is that there will be childcare available on most of the bigger cruise ships that are out there. Some of them have nurseries, some of them have youth clubs, kids clubs, and most of the time those clubs are included in your cruise fare. You don't have to pay an additional fee for that. Sometimes, again, as your travel advisor, this is one of the things I can help you with. Or if you just have general questions about it, drop me a message, comment on this feed, shoot me an email, kind of let me know your thoughts. But just, again, want to remind you that there are a lot of things that are included in your cruise fare, and kids clubs are one of them, and sometimes they are pretty amazing, especially the ones with Royal Caribbean. They are the kids clubs counselors, as it were. The staff members on board are not just some people that they hired off a pier to babysit your kids for a few hours. No, these are people most of the time that have like educational degrees. Like, they have gone to school to know how to work with kids of these ages. And there are other cruise lines that have similar policies on hiring their staff with the kids clubs. I also put needs in there as well, because sometimes we have kiddos in our family that have very specific needs, whether it is like a behavioral situation or like a medical situation. things like that. So there's a lot of different things to consider, and just know that there are some cruise lines that are out there that are very friendly towards folks that have different needs, especially as it relates to accessibility. Being part of Travelmation, we have a fantastic certification that we run called our accessibility certification that I've gone through that kind of helps us understand how to better serve clients with a variety of different needs, and not just kids, but others as well. So don't let your kids' needs prevent you from getting out there and having an amazing time on the high seas and a fantastic vacation. Because sometimes we all need that break, regardless of where we are. We need to get out there and just unplug for a little bit. So would love to chat with you more about that if you have questions. Some other things, again, this is kind of circling around the idea of childcare that's out there, but what kind of family-friendly amenities do you need? What kind of family-friendly amenities do you need? There are some cruise lines that are out there that do allow kids on board. There are some, one specifically that I sailed on last year that only allows kids 8 years of age or older on board, but there are no kids clubs on these particular ships. Fantastic cruise line, Windstar Cruise Lines, but the service, the food, gosh, like we're gonna do a whole episode, I think, on Windstar at some point. They're the culinary partner for the James Beard Foundation. We're gonna talk with them about small ship cruising, and a number of other things. So they allow kids on boards, no kids club. There's some other ships that are similar to that, like Ama Waterways. They're a river cruising line out of that primarily operates in Europe, but they have other operations around the globe, which is pretty awesome. So they do allow kids on board. Coincidentally, they are the river cruise line partner for Adventures by Disney, and they are a fantastic cruise line. I may have a friend on who has sailed with them with her kids to talk about that at some point if I can convince her to come on and chat about that. But what kind of family-friendly amenities do you need? Are the younger kids, are they older? Are you worried about your tween and teenagers being entertained and getting bored because you don't want them coming to you saying, Mom, Dad, I'm bored, like I need something to do, or I hate this, or whatever, because you want to be able to relax. You want to be able to unplug. So these are conversations that we need to have in advance, and would love to kind of help you walk through that process to learn more. But again, take these questions, these things that I'm putting out there tonight, and think about them. They can help you plan a fantastic trip. Going off the family-friendly amenities idea, what about grown-up time? What about when you just need to get away? What if you want to have a date night on board? If you want to go see a late-night comedy show or something else on board? What about stuff for you? Those opportunities are definitely out there. So even with Disney Cruise Line is a fantastic cruise line, run by the Mouse House, as it were, and I would highly suggest them for families, but also for grown-ups. I had a couple who has grandkids that sailed Disney Cruise Line to Alaska last year, and they had an absolutely fantastic time. By the way, their grandkids and their own kids did not go with them. It was just these two. They kind of last minute travel arrangements, looking to see what options were available for them, found one balcony cabin that would work for them on this ship, was able to get them in kind of last minute, and they had a absolute ball. Disney Cruise Line has very high service standards. The entertainment is top notch. The food is outstanding. So great cruise line, great opportunity. I'm going to say this over and over again. Yes, some of you may say, "Oh, well, John's a Disney guy." Well, yeah, sure. Like it's kind of in my blood, so to speak. I was a cast member at Walt Disney World, for Pete's sake. But at the same time, Disney is not just for kids. I'm an adult now. I'm an annual pass holder. I go to Walt Disney World regularly. I'm going to Disneyland this summer for the Travelmation Leadership Retreat. I'm going to Disneyland again in the fall for the Travelmation Roadshow hosted at Disneyland, which is pretty awesome. Disney parks, not just for adults. Disney cruises, definitely. Not just for kids. Disney cruises, definitely not just for kids. There's so much there to offer. So as you're thinking about the time that you want to have with your kids, sure, family time's going to be there. If that's all you want to do, great. But I highly suggest, even if you're going on a family cruise, to make sure you have, maybe even if it's just part of one evening, away together, just to kind of relax and just celebrate the amazing memories that you're making on board while you're out there on the high seas. The next thing is this, and then again, this is kind of going off the last question here. What are your expectations? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish on this cruise, and how does that line up with your reality? Your reality and what your kids want to do, what they're capable of. I highly recommend not planning a cruise and forcing people to kind of be creating a minute by minute itinerary. Look, I love my parents, I do. But there are moments when I was a kid, and maybe we'll see this. If they do see this, I'm sorry. But there were family vacations where we had an almost minute by minute itinerary growing up, and it drove me nuts a little bit. Like we would, like, even like when we were, how much time we were going to spend in like souvenir shops and bathrooms and this stop and that stop and just all these different things. Like, I get wanting to maximize your vacation time and also your budget, but don't forget, just be real with yourself on where your family is. And don't forget your why when you're traveling. Don't forget your why of why you paid this money to get on board the ship to have a good time, even if something goes sideways. Set realistic expectations, have a plan, but be flexible. Set realistic expectations and have a plan, but be flexible. And also, regarding your expectations, want to make sure those expectations line up with your budget, because sometimes we have these amazing ideas. Like, there are some amazing trips I would love to take my kids on. I'm just not in a place right now in life where I can do that. But maybe one day, hopefully, we can make some of those trips happen. And I'm learning ways and learning things and booking travel for others to help make that happen for my own family, hopefully someday. So set yourself realistic expectations, because I feel like if you do this, even from the get-go in the planning phase, you're going to be, set up for a successful trip. So there are a few other basic questions that are out there, I think, that I want to run through before we get back to our question of the day, which, by the way, if you're just tuning in, this is our question of the day that we're going to get to here in just a second. What is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? What is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? But again, there's a few other questions to kind of consider as you're planning that family cruise adventure that is out there. And again, let's see here. Let's go. Yeah, this is a good one. Can I change my room type after booking? So again, there's a family that I'm working with right now, and we're talking about room placement. I want to make sure that they're able to get in at the current pricing and availability of the categories. And we're having a conversation right now about where their room's going to be. One of the things is with most cruise lines, if you book a cruise in a specific category, say it's like an ocean view balcony, most cruise lines, there's more than one ocean view balcony category. Outside of the guarantee category, which the guarantee category is basically where the cruise ship assigns the stateroom for you. So this doesn't apply to the guarantee category. But if it's one of the other ocean view balcony categories, it's the same category code. You can move around the ship without any cancellation fees, penalty fees, upcharges, things like that. You can transfer staterooms within the same category typically without a problem, as long as the availability is there. So don't let do I want to be forward, aft, midship? What deck do I want to be on? What side of the ship do I want to be on? Sometimes the best thing to do is going ahead and booking and getting that pricing secured, so you can have the pick of the litter, so to speak, as far as stateroom locations go. Cruise ship pricing does go up as you get closer to departure, most of the time, because availability goes down. And in one of the things that I've learned in the past couple of years is that, say, even if a cruise ship has staterooms that will hold 4 people, sometimes they won't let 4 people travel in that room because of the cruise ship's overall capacity that they have already booked. So there's a bunch of different factors to consider. And that's just one thing to kind of put out there. If that's confusing to you, it was confusing to me when I first learned it. But just put that out there. Don't wait till the last second looking to book. and get a deal for a cruise. Booking sooner rather than later is the best thing, because sometimes, especially if it's an important trip, if there's a significant reason why you're going on the trip, you don't want to wait till the last minute to chance there not being availability in room for you. Cancellation policies vary by cruise ship and itinerary, by length of cruise most of the time. So keep that in mind. Asking yourself questions like this: why do people sail on this cruise line, ship, itinerary? This is actually a fun question to Google. I typically don't send clients to Google, but can be some helpful answers out there. And as you're filtering things, because most of my clients that I know, they're doing research on their own. I would be a not very smart travel agent if I did not think my clients were already doing that. Do they trust me as their travel advisor? Sure, they do. I don't think they would come to me otherwise. But as you are asking the interwebs question, especially with the dawn of many AI search engines, Chat GPT and the like that are out there, if you were to ask this question, a lot of information that's out there is not necessarily always up to date. I've just seen this time and time again, especially coming out of the pandemic, which, gosh, was like 5 years ago, almost to the day here. But as you're filtering all this information, make sure you're vetting it properly and you're not just accepting it as fact, especially if it's posted in like a Facebook group or a Reddit, thread or whatever. Make sure this information is vetted properly. One of the things that I do as a Travelmation travel advisor is I make sure the information that I'm giving my clients lines up with what our vendors, our suppliers say. So I'm not going to tell somebody something just because I saw it on Google or on a chat board or because it sounds good. I want to make sure that they are properly equipped to get a factual answer along the way. So when you're asking questions like this, this is a great question to ask a friend, a neighbor, maybe a colleague that has gone on a particular trip. You can apply this to other trips and not just cruise lines that are out there. And again, I'm going to ask this question one more time. Is there childcare available? Many times. Just check with the cruise ships. Check with the cruise lines, as it were. Check with your travel advisor. Hopefully it's a Travelmation travel advisor. If not me personally, out of selfish motive. And we can have a chat about that. Just go ahead, just as a heads up, I think this is a kind of an international maritime law, that children under 6 months of age are not allowed to sail. So again, children under 6 months of age are not allowed to sail, even if there's a nursery on board the ship. This is general law, I believe. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're planning. Again, some cruise lines do have nurseries, definitely kids clubs for the older ones and that kind of thing. So just check with me or your travel advisor from Travelmation, and we will be happy to look into that for you. All right, swinging back around to our question of the day: what is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? And as we're chatting here, I'm going to double check. So no other answers right now. But what is the most important thing to you about a family vacation? My buddy Levi says this: pictures. Not for the gram, he says socials, but not for socials, but to remember the trip and look at it later. Seeing pictures of my kiddos from those early trips bring back so many memories. That's awesome, Levi. I absolutely love that. And I'll say, for others that have tuned into Travel Tips Tuesday in the past, I think I've mentioned this. I know it's been a while. One of my most memorable Disney moments was with my oldest, my 12-year-old, who's been on the show a while back this was probably close to, what has it been, 4 years now? Yeah, because we went to Universal together when she was 8, and she was on the show then. So if you can rewind back several episodes, you can find that. But we had a great conversation about our experiences there. But one of my favorite memories was actually at Walt Disney World before she was even one. I think it was even before she was 6 months old. Honestly, we were at Walt Disney World as a family. I was running the marathon, and I came out of Animal Kingdom, and she was in a stroller and just had this big old goofy smile on her face. And I was like about dead. For anybody that's done the Walt Disney World Marathon, you know how tough that stretch is going into Animal Kingdom and especially coming back out of Animal Kingdom on the race course, and seeing her just kind of lit me up and gave me that extra bit of energy that I needed, and it's just was one of my favorite memories that I have of that, and it's a literal picture that I have. I also spent some time over the weekend sorting through some old pictures as well from different family travels. Found some pictures from my first one of my first trips as a kid to Walt Disney World in front of Magic Kingdom. As soon as you went through they were still turnstiles then. Went through those. They had some characters out. There's this amazing picture of me hugging Bear Fox, which is pretty fun. There's a picture in front of me in front of the slime fountain at Nickelodeon, now defunct and no longer Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios Florida. There's a picture in there of that. So just pictures are great. They're a great keepsake to have, and not just ones that you like take on your phone, right? But they're things that you can literally look back through. And one of the things that I love that are out there are companies out there that will take your pictures from social media and create photo books for you from like a specific trip. There you can make calendars out of them. I think like Shutterfly. Not looking for an endorsement here per se, but Shutterfly has a great option for that as well that's out there. So great comment, Levi. And then let's see here. My friend Jared Massey, who was on earlier, what did he say? Here we go. He said, the most important thing to me about family vacations is sharing experiences together. Whoops, sorry about that. Is sharing experiences together that will become lifelong memories. It's not about the stuff, y'all. It's not about the stuff. Do I have anything? I don't even have anything. Like, I'm not really big of a souvenir kind of person. Like, on my last trip to Walt Disney World for the Travelmation retreat back in January, I got this little guy at Epcot. But, like, I've gotten to the point where I'm not about the souvenirs, the T-shirts. This shirt was given to me. This came from Walt Disney World as a gift. It's not about that, y'all. It's about the experience. It's about the memories that happen in the margins. It's not even about like the dining reservations or the rides necessarily, or the hotel even, which like I'm very intentional in helping people with. But it's about those moments again that happen just with each other. Those memories that are made. Sometimes the ones again that are most powerful are the ones that you can't plan for. So there's my friend Donna says hello, and my friend Ralph says hi. Hey Ralph, good to see y'all. So again, great comments from everybody. Thank you for hopping in the chat tonight. Really appreciate it. Our topic for tonight, again, was family fun on the high seas, a cruising adventure. I kind of walked you guys through, if you're just hopping on, a few questions along the way, some things to think about as you're planning a cruise or qualifying that experience that you're looking to create, to make. We started off the show talking a little bit about Southwest, which, by the way, I want to end, for those of you that are staying to the bitter end, I have one funny story to share about Southwest Airlines. So we're going to end on a higher note. And since I kind of threw my parents under the bus earlier, we'll end on a higher note here with them. My dad used to fly a lot. He was a physician, a career physician, growing up when I grew up in Birmingham. And he was on a trip somewhere. I don't remember where. I don't even think he told me. But he did say specifically that he was flying Southwest, and I think he was one of the last people to get on the plane at that point. So he was getting on. He was looking for carry-on luggage with him. He usually tries not to check bags if he can. And this was probably like 20 or 30 years ago. I don't even remember. But he was going through because most of the overhead compartment bins were shut. Anybody that's been on a plane knows that the flight attendants will come through and shut the ones that are full, but he was trying to find one that had some space for his bags, and was just having trouble with it. So he kept on walking down the aisle and looking, finally gets one. He opens it, and what do you know? There was a Southwest flight attendant, a smaller one, that had crawled up and was laying. This was pre 9/11, by the way, so it's probably wouldn't fly now, so to speak. But the flight attendant was hiding inside the luggage bin, and everyone around them were just waiting for somebody to open it. because they knew, they all knew what was coming. It was set up. It was a pretty funny thing. And my dad actually brought that up recently as well. It's a story that I remember from a long time ago, but funny things can happen. Southwest is really good about taking care of their clients, and it's tough to see change coming, but it's inevitable in life. Even Disney parks do it, so changes are going to happen. Sometimes it's not about the changes or circumstances, but it's about how we respond to those. So anyway, appreciate you guys joining me for another episode of Travel Tips Tuesday. Love being able to do this with you guys. And I totally forgot to create this. I'm going to put it up here now. But if you are curious, you want to learn more information about what I do as a travel advisor, go to the website right here, travelmationjohn.com. My friend Jared that was on the show earlier, this guy, no way, that's crazy, him. Jared created an amazing site for me. Go to travelmationjohn.com and you can learn all about the different things that I have to offer as your travel advisor. And since I'm kind of droning on, I'll just kind of show it to you here. All right. So if it will let me, yes. So we'll do this. Well, yep, here we go. All right. So this is an amazing site. So shout out to Jared. He's an awesome, if you're a Travelmation travel advisor and you're tuning into this, make sure that you reach out to Jared because he's really good at what he does. This is a group picture from our retreat this past January with Mickey. I'm kind of covering up. I'm Mike Wazowski and Mickey Mouse. I just noticed that. Sorry, Mick. But a little bit about me. If you're curious about what I do and you have questions about my services, there are ways to take a look at that. Reviews also that you can kind of click on and take a look at as well. So there you go. But I appreciate you guys hopping on and joining me tonight for another episode of Travel Tips Tuesday. This is a lot of fun. As soon as I get my podcast intro and outro done, again, not the one you're going to see kind of in post here in just a second on the outro, but the one for the actual podcast platforms. I hope to be back there soon. Still a little bit more work to do, but appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the love and the support, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye. Wow.